Hi everybody. So glad you can join me here today for this week's discussion, which is about what will happen if you wait and don't take action on a decision or on that dream, big goal of yours that you've been kind of working on or thinking about, because there's a few key areas that are going to have a really big impact on your life if you're waiting before going ahead and making a decision, or if you're going to try to just rush in and take action. There's quite a few factors that will really make a big difference to how things go. And the question of what will happen if I wait is, I can answer that really quickly, because a lot of people sometimes wonder if there's something that they need to maybe wait for permission before they do something, or they need to wait to have the right resources or connections or opportunities, or it to be a specific date that is meaningful to them, or that maybe they should do it a particular way. There's all of these different parameters that we come up with in our own heads that are totally not real. And a lot of them are things like waiting for the right time, or waiting to be asked to step forward and try your thing, make change, or go for a goal, or make a big decision. Sometimes we can hold on to the idea of things getting better. And if that resonates with you, that you might be holding on to something thinking, well, maybe it'll change, do let me know. And if you haven't met me before, I'm Lee White. I'm a transformational coach, and what I love doing is guiding others how to make the biggest, most significant change in their lives that is permanent and will help them to be getting out of their own way and sharing their gifts and their mission with the world. So in today's talk about what will happen if you wait, the three big things that I want you to consider is, does it matter whether you wait? When is the right time to take action? And the third one is, how will you know? How will you know? So on that first one around, does it matter, the timing of when you take action? Let's think about an example of something that you're going to be taking action on. So let's say you've got a really big decision. So you're going to say goodbye to something. You're going to end something. So this is often where decisions are really, really difficult, because you're used to something. So it's familiar. And no matter what it is, as far as you're concerned, at some level, it's safe. So even if people are living in situations that others around them may not call safe, because a person is accustomed to that and they're surviving, that is what the brain sees as being safe and familiar. So letting go of and making decisions to move on from things that are really familiar to you, could be a job, could be friendship circles, it could be community groups, it could be anything that you are really accustomed to, and it can also be family members. And there's a great way of looking at this one around, does it matter whether I make a decision, or do I let things die on the vine or work themselves out? When we look at ending something, one of the things to consider is, in terms of does it matter, the big question for you is, what is at stake? So if this is a job and it's a toxic environment, or you're just completely unfulfilled and you know that there are more appropriate and aligned and uplifting and maybe creative opportunities for you, or you can just get paid more somewhere else, maybe paid what you're deserving, I would not recommend waiting, because that one is going to probably end in a dramatic ending when it's really not in alignment with you, and you will get into a point of at some level feeling resentment, or certainly not feeling lit up by it, that's for sure. So when you think about that, ask yourself, what is at stake? But give yourself time to sit with that question, and also to sit with the answers. You may not like them. What is at stake? And the perspective I wanted to share with you is, whenever we're ending something, ending is such a good example to use around decision making, because of that element of things being familiar. And it can be scary, the idea of changing. And when we think about ending something, we are, as humans, very much designed and programmed to focus on what we could lose by that ending. So when people are in relationships they're not particularly happy with, it's reached a certain point, or they've had an experience that they're not happy with, often they'll be weighing up, what have I got to lose? And that is what we call scarcity mindset, where you're focused on a lack of other potential avenues, other ways of feeling happy, feeling connected, feeling fulfilled, aligned, all of these great words that describe some of our feelings. And what's so important is, rather than focusing on what you have to potentially lose, if you think about the times in your life that have been the biggest breakthroughs, it's probably come directly after some kind of ending. Like that saying, there's no growth in the comfort zone, right? You go out of your comfort zone, something ends, you bravely say no to something, and then great doorways open for you. It happens all the time. And I'm sure that if you sit with that, you can think of times in your life where change for the better has come out of a difficult ending or situation, or a hard decision you had to make. And one of the great Zen sayings goes, letting go is hard, but holding on is harder. And when you think about making decisions and, does it matter whether I make this decision? In that context of staying in the same situation, holding on is harder. I want you to just sit with that for a minute and think about a difficult situation. I bet you can think of some in your life where you've been at a crossroads, but you didn't jump off at the exit, you stayed. And you might have thought, well, look, I'm a survivor. I can get through this. I can make it work no matter what it is. And there is strength in that, but at the same time, sometimes you might be almost shutting down a part of yourself that also needs to be seen and heard and experienced in this lifetime, instead of cutting off a half of yourself that is, maybe you're in an environment that's not a creative environment, and you're a creative person and would rather be doing different things with your time. That's the kind of example of where holding on is harder than actually letting it go. So go back to that first question of what's at stake here. Are you concerned about losing face if you say you're not going to do a particular commitment anymore, or you're going to end a relationship or a friendship or something that isn't feeling like it really works for you anymore? And I mean, that's kind of one of the frameworks of language around ending things, is you can decline through that frame of it doesn't really work for me anymore. There doesn't need to be this big explanation from you. You can just let yourself off the hook. It's okay, because whatever paradigm or reality that either workplace or people or person or scenario is in, whatever reality they exist in, they're going to find other people. There's billions of people on this planet, and it's going to work out for the better, because you being happy is how you find that pathway to fulfillment, really. There's so many things that pathways of happiness lead to: better health, better relationships, less feeling like you're about to, be triggered at any moment. All of that comes down to you choosing what makes you happy. And so one of the next questions was, when is the right time? That's a big one. When is the right time to go ahead with taking action on a decision? Well, this one is interesting because in a lot of circles, people rely on divine timing, or they kind of want things to come to them, and that may keep them stuck in a cycle of procrastination by waiting for things to unfold for them, waiting for an invitation, maybe waiting to feel motivated, waiting for things to line up. Like, some people may have given up on job search or changing jobs, or relationship exploration, should we call it, dating or whatever, or even socializing with new circles and trying to meet new circles. They may have given up on that basis that they're thinking it'll happen when it's meant to happen. Now, I'm a very spiritual person. I do believe in divine timing, but do not put your dreams on hold and your self-expression on hold, and do not put yourself in an environment that is not uplifting, that drains you. Do not do that. Please, please do not do that while you're waiting for a better scenario to unfold or manifest for you. That is not what you do. You must take action towards your dream, towards that decision. You must take action now. Because once an inspiration, or an inspiration is a great way of framing it. Once that has come to you, then it's your nudge. It's your nudge to start taking action. It's not the time to stay on the sidelines and be thinking, well, when things line up for me, then I'm going to take action. Absolutely not. Don't do that. Please don't do that, because it will also cultivate negative thoughts about the opportunity that is only exists in your imagination right now. Thank you very much for being here today. It's always so great to know that people are able to join us here live, and you're welcome to ask me questions or add comments or cheer us on in the comments, because I can't always see who is watching, but I love knowing that our community is here and joining the conversation as always. So I'm talking about when is the right time, and that thing of, do I sit and wait for divine timing to make this easy for me, or do I put in the work? Do I face my fear of being out there in the world, or of changing jobs, or having that difficult conversation? I would say keep daydreaming about the idea. Don't stop yourself from dreaming about the idea, but start making lists of what is getting in your way. So if it's a difficult conversation you're going to have, you might need support in how to have that kind of conversation, and what is helpful, and what is at stake. Again, everything comes back to what's at stake. So what levers are going to be helpful to you, or for you to reach decisions in a difficult conversation sort of scenario. There are so many professionals that can help you with that. There are thousands of books out there. You don't need to pay for that type of help around difficult conversations. You can help yourself. And I'm all for people being the ones that are the action takers and the instigators of big change, until you get to a point where you do need an actual person to assist you, or someone that's walked that path before. So when it comes down to, is it the right time, be thinking about, what resources do I need? Do I need to make some new connections to break into that industry, or that social circle or community, or is there something that I am breaking new ground on, and what do I need to do? Make the list, but do not let that list get lost, sit and gather dust. Make a promise to yourself, because you are the most important one in this conversation. Make a promise to yourself that you're going to keep that commitment to yourself to once a week start building new networks, if it's a community type of thing or a new relationship, or just taking up more interesting hobbies, or whatever these decisions are around the change that you want, or going for a new job, signing up for training, whatever it is. You're more capable than you think. And the only thing that is separating you from the heroes and successful people that you look up to is that they might have persisted longer than you have so far. And don't take that to mean, oh, well, then obviously it's not going to happen for me. You haven't even started yet in this difficult decision. And if you have started and you've tried before, you haven't tried this time with these new skills and approaches and key questions I've got in this video today. And remember, if you've tried before and it didn't work out, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from a place of experience and probably more courage than you've had before. And around, if it's the right time, ask yourself what's at stake. How important is this to get moving right now? You really are probably holding yourself back more than is necessary for most types of change. When you've got obstacles that are really crucial or fundamental for a form of change to happen, like for example, don't go selling houses till you've got your real estate agent certification. Those kind of ones, yes. But do start networking in that sector while you're studying. You know what I mean? It's just changing your identity and your beliefs about yourself while you're going up to get ready at the starting gate. You know, don't arrive at the starting gate totally in a different, old, outdated mindset about who you are. Start taking those steps, like getting your toes in the waters, but make sure both feet are going in, not just a gingerly dipping your toe in. Really have a go, and starting where you are is so important. So around the right timing, yes, like I said, divine timing is part of the whole thing, because sometimes what that looks like is you can start now and it's going to be pretty messy and things won't be perfectly ready, but your perfectionism is going to be the biggest barrier to you changing anything. So you can walk around being angry and telling everybody how hard life is and that you're really stuck and things don't work out for you. Go with that if you want, but the thing is, testing the water, just taking imperfect action right now, that is the way to start allowing your thoughts to really take form in your life. These dreams and things, in order for them to take form in your life, you have to start putting your energy and thought and action around them. So the last part of the questions to consider are, how do you know when it's the right time? One of the biggest clarifiers around how do you know is, okay, what's at stake? How bad do I want it? Why am I doing this? Is it for me? Is it going to make me potentially happier? That's always a debatable one when we're looking for happiness outside of ourselves. There's a lot of happiness available to you inside of yourself first. But how do you know? A lot of this depends, because the right time has a lot to do with when you ask yourself, what have I got to lose? So let's say you were thinking about starting a heart-led business and you really wanted to start selling something or creating something or having an influence in the world, and that there was a possibility you could lose $100. How does that sound as an opportunity? Versus if there was a small chance that over time you could make $100. The way that humans are designed is our brains and our personality and ego are going to measure the loss much, much greater than what's to gain. So I'll say that again, is we associate loss and negative things at a much higher ratio of meaning to us than we do what we can gain. Not exactly sure why, but it's a neuroscience fact. And if you think about it this way, you can remember aspects of life that were shocking, negative, devastating experiences much more clearly and vividly than you can happy, like things working out, happy memories, pleasant things. And why we really hang on to those more negative memories and experiences because of that very strong emotion associated with them. So while you're weighing up, how do I know if it's the right time to make this decision, or how do I not even know if it is the right decision, just remember that you're going to be leaning into that space of fear before you'll allow yourself to do it. It does depend a bit on the personality. Some people are really open to just being quite frivolous about loss and risk and that sort of thing. But really, most people will spend a lot more time in that space of feeling I might lose something, because there's shame associated with losing. There's what is it? Not humility. Being humiliated. And all of those emotions have roots back to way, way earlier in your life, when you're really young and you're being told that you're wrong and you're doing the wrong thing, and or getting caught out or making silly mistakes. All of those things that shouldn't have as big an impact as they do, but they do. And I won't even go down the road of what that means and how that changes your behavior and your response, because for those early traumas in our lives really do affect how we will show up when we're being challenged or require courage in life. And we could do a whole other live session on that, absolutely. So I hope you found this interesting around key questions you can ask yourself about what will happen if I do not take action towards my dreams or goals. You are going to procrastinate. The longer you stay in the energy of believing it's not the right time, you're going to find a lot more reasons why it's not the right time. And when you're finding those negative beliefs about yourself and what you're capable of, or about things working out for you, I want you to ask yourself a few key questions. So you've got a negative belief like, I'm not really ready, or I wouldn't be able to do that. I feel a bit weird just even saying those words. Your words are so powerful. And when you get that internal voice, or it could even be another voice, a person saying to you, you're not really ready for that. If there isn't a factual reason, like I brought up the example of the real estate agent, like you legally have to do things like getting a license. It's really important to ask yourself a few key questions when you're experiencing negative beliefs about the future or about who you are and what you're capable of. The first one is that absolutely true? So when you're saying, I'm not really capable of that, is that absolutely true? Because it's very likely that you haven't tried this, or if you've tried it before, what would happen if you tried it again in a different way? Because you've got a different idea. And the next thing is to ask, what if the opposite was true? So instead of, I'm not really ready for this, what if I am so ready for this? What if that was absolutely true? How does that make you feel? What if you were able to shift into believing, why not me? Like, no one's going to invite me to go and make this decision or take this action. But I can tell you now, if you're worried about, like, let's say it was about getting really fit, joining an exercise group, or getting a personal trainer, or just starting to exercise yourself. You might be feeling like, well, that's going to change things, and it's going to change me. It's going to change you for the better. And you might be a little bit worried about your friends that aren't exercising, or the people that have influenced you to get to where you are now that don't exercise, what are they going to think of me? They're going to think, she's too big for her boots, and, who does she think she is? Yeah, well, they might think that. But let me tell you, when you've got more energy and longevity, and you look better, you've got your color back in your face, and you're in a more positive and expansive mindset, they're going to like you more, or you're going to find new friends, finally, that will appreciate you. These are such important questions, and it's really important to write them down and keep them as a process for yourself to really go deeper with decision making, because you are one decision away from having a completely different life. And I can remember the times in my life when I've chosen to let go of toxic situations or unhealthy situations or habits rather than holding on. It's been the best decision I've ever made. And I hope you found today really helpful. Please let me know in the questions, with your questions or comments in the comment section below, and I will put some free resources in there, like our success tracker formula and others that will be really helpful for you to start creating a bit of space for yourself to make these decisions and start taking action. A bit of messy action never hurt anybody. I look forward to joining you here in our next live Q&A. Bye for now.